Welcome to Portugal Junkies podcast.
Adventure is a verb, y'all. Welcome back, Portugal Junkies.
Hello. Hope everybody's well. We're here this morning with coffees.
Oh, yes.
For
A lot of coffee.
For a lot of coffee because it was a terrible night. Mosquitoville.
Oh my God, Mosquito Gate. So, it's a terrible night. What a wonderful way to start the podcast. Last night was a terrible night.
The reality of real life.
No, seriously though, I cannot figure this out. So, I'm one of those people who is the person in the room who is always going to get bitten by the mosquito, no matter what. I don't know. My mom used to say I have sweet meat. Is what it means. It's like basically, I don't know if it has to do with your blood type. I don't even know if that's a real thing, but
Not close.
Something about me, the mosquitoes are attracted to. And we had mosquito gate last night because
I swear.
we haven't even left. So it's been a little warm. Well, I'll say a little warm. It's been the warmest it's been since we've been here because it's been summer, and so we haven't opened the windows as much in our apartment.
Yep.
Which I hate because I love the cross breeze.
Yeah.
It's really nice when we can do that. But we've stopped doing it because we get mosquitoes in the house.
And we think that's how they get in.
They terrorize us.
But I'm not sure. Just looking
But
around.
we've purposefully not kept the windows and doors and then back balcony doors open on purpose because of this, okay? Yeah. So this is probably, the third or fourth time this has happened?
Oh, easily.
Where we go to bed and we are awakened because a mosquito is literally feasting on both of us, enough to wake us up. So last night, 1:30 in the morning, I wake up and I'm scratching the hell out of my ankle, and I'm like, what is that? You don't understand what's happening, like you're half asleep, half awake.
And meanwhile, I have been scratching at my foot because I got bitten in two different places on the
just like,
top of my foot.
You either have to cover up completely and then hope that they don't bite you, because last week they bit my cheek. And so last night, I guess my ankle was hanging out of the bed. I mean, when I say bitten, it was like a good, I don't know, nickel-sized bite on my foot. And then I realized that Mark was up. So at 1:30 or 2 a.m., we have turned the lights on in the bedroom, and we are standing around staring up at the ceiling, out into the ether, trying to see this damn little freaking mosquito
thing.
Anyway, I don't know that we ever got it. We tried to get it 2 or 3 times, but it was not like a definite kill.
There was no
we were
red scarring on the wall.
Forced to go back to bed and hope that we didn't get eaten alive. Yeah. Anyway, we have heard that the mosquito. I know you're
counted my
alive.
arm. It was like 9.
We're gonna have to do something.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care, and I feel all of my Southerners going, "Where's the skin so soft?" And he probably doesn't even know what that means. But that's it's a lotion that has this natural repellent for mosquitoes in it, and it actually doesn't stink. So growing up, we would use Skin So Soft.
Okay. And if anybody has any and wants to send it, then let us know. We'll give you the address.
I did see a product in the store that I almost bought the other day, but it was like a kid's sticker. Mosquito repel, it was, I guess maybe the sticker has a repellent in it.
I have no idea.
And so they're really cute, and you supposed to put them on a shirt or something to keep and I'm like, that's what I'm going to buy us. I'm going to buy us and put it on
20 stickers on my face
before we go to bed. Anyway, this story is ridiculous, but it's true life. Yeah. This is what we're dealing with, Mosquito Gate. And
I'm sure everybody has.
I'm tired.
Days and nights.
Yeah.
And it's always at night. It's never at day.
Yeah, I don't get bitten in here during the day.
No. I think
it's because they have time to watch
Well, they've already feasted on you. They're just having a downtime now.
So annoying. Anyway, I will say this. The bigger picture is we have been told that mosquitoes can be pretty bad here in Portugal in the summer.
Yeah.
But here's the thing I come back to. We have literally not had the doors and windows open. So where are they coming from? I cannot figure it out. So
Don't know.
But I'll stay awake tonight thinking about it, I'm sure. Like paranoid to go to bed. Anyway, what are we doing today?
We're doing frequently asked questions.
Oh, okay. So we are doing FAQs today.
Yes, we are.
Cool. We did get,
Favorites.
4 or 5 questions.
Yep.
Thank you to
Very
those who
much.
submitted.
Yes.
It's exciting. We love doing these. We hope you love listening because it's kind of like a random assortment.
Yeah.
Of,
There's no
things that
specific,
people
like,
wanna know.
on point thing.
Yeah.
And even like last week's with Heather, it's just really, really nice when you get interaction. It's not just us talking about a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, either somebody's asked or we felt, hey, this might help somebody in a similar or same situation that wants to know a little bit more.
Right.
So these are more interactive, and I absolutely love these far more.
Yeah, I love it. So cool. So what do we?
Groceries or shopping.
Okay.
What are the non-dairy alternatives, and are there any items here
That you
but
can't.
you can't? No, that you can get in the USA, but you can't get here.
No, I think it was the opposite. That question was like, well, we'll talk about both. How about that? Because I have been talking about this a little bit on TikTok lately. If you haven't followed us there, please do. So let's see. I think that there's a lot of people who ask about like certain diets because when you go to a different country, you have no idea if you can like maintain the kind of diet that you need to maintain, and not just like preferences, but like
as a necessity.
Yeah, as a necessity. People are obviously going to consider that if you're going to move here or spend a long period of time here, and you should. My first reaction to that is, again, the food quality here is something that I think we even have trouble understanding as Americans because we have become so accustomed to all of the shit that's in our food over there.
Right.
I'm just going to be straight.
Yeah.
It's a lot of processed crap and preservatives and
that taste great.
and you do miss sometimes.
You do miss. But
it's not good for you, yeah? And so I think as on a whole, food quality over here is much better, much more natural, much more fresh, and we've already talked about this many times, much more affordable.
Yeah.
It's cheaper here to buy fresh produce and cook at home than it is definitely in the US. So whereas like, you have a lot of people in the US go, well, if I'm a single person, it's just easier for me to go out and buy convenience food.
Right.
And that is true there in a lot of cases. Yeah. So it kind of, your choices are always going to be your choices, but that puts it in perspective for people who are on a budget with their food and all of that stuff. Making decisions about fresh versus processed.
Yeah,
but
non-dairy alternatives. I think that you've got to, if you go to some of the supermarkets, yes, they'll have sections for vegan or gluten-free and various.
I think it's very
things.
easy to be any of those things here.
Yeah, I think it is in the supermarkets. I think it's very, very simple. I think the problem that you might find is if you go to a restaurant or go to the local cafe, I don't know that you're going to find gluten alternatives or non-dairy alternatives as easily. I think that kind of applies though in the US too, where it's always harder to eat out because you don't have control over your food. Or what's in it.
But if the question is pertaining to like availability of you buying, for instance, vegan, vegetarian, non-dairy alternatives here, the answer is absolutely yes. Like when you go into any grocery store, the one that we go to within like 2 or 3 blocks of us, there is an aisle of milk on the shelf, by the way. On the shelf, non-refrigerated because it doesn't have to be. Regular milk, so cow milk, and then you have oat milk, almond milk, soy milk. There's just all of it. And I love my oat milk, and he loves his regular milk, so we don't have any. And I'll tell you, it's very affordable here too.
Yeah.
I was shocked when we got here.
You were shooketh.
I was shooketh because a lot of that stuff we know as Americans, if you are choosing that type of diet, or you have a medical necessity to have that kind of diet, it is often more expensive. And that is shit to me. I think that is, I've always thought,
for a choice or for a necessity.
Yes. And here it is, we buy a block of tofu for like $1.89.
Don't think it's that much.
A block of tofu. And that's, to me, I feel like at home it was probably double that at least, even at like an Aldi. So buying meat alternatives and things like that, you absolutely can do, and it's affordable. And in fact, you want to talk about our change in diet?
What, the one where you keep starving me?
No, stop it. I found personally, and I have always, I don't like labels, number one. So don't label this anything. But I do find that here I am less inclined to want meat products as much. And I don't know what that's about really, other than I have found I've always liked tofu. I just haven't really, until recently learned how to make it into anything you want. I've always liked it. I've used it in Asian cooking I love to cook Asian. So tofu wasn't something that we'd never ate in the US, but we're eating it even more here now.
Yeah.
We find that we eat more shrimp and fish, so I will never give that up. So the only thing that you could ever label me is maybe a pescatarian, but I don't even go there yet. Because there are some times when I absolutely love my chicken and beef or whatever.
Katrina.
Or the really crappy food that you shouldn't be eating. I found that I'm more open to that here, and it's interesting to kind of be introspective on that, because it wasn't like by design, it just kind of became that way. This one, I don't know.
What?
He thinks that he could be vegetarian.
No, I don't know that I think I could be vegetarian. I just think that I'm very ready and whatever to take breaks from eating meat.
Oh, okay.
Because I think that there are more options out there if you just open your eyes a little bit further.
Yeah, than ever before. And I feel like Europe has been...
It does take a lot more work when you've grown up with the same diet, quote, of food groups, and then you sort of remove one of the basic or one of the core pieces. It forces you to think much wider out of the box of, okay, well, what can I sub in for protein, and how can I make it enjoyable, because my steak was fantastic, and how am I going to replicate that? And
You're talking to a southern girl.
Yeah, you're maybe not going to be able to, but at the same time I think it's just important to have those opportunities. Well, for me, I think it's important to have those opportunities.
To sub out?
To sub things out.
Yeah.
And not feel like I'm missing out.
I grew up, if there wasn't meat on the plate, it wasn't a meal. So, there were not any vegetarians in my family, and certainly not vegans, not even pescatarians really. So to me, I have to remind myself that you don't have to have meat on your plate. Anyway, we're totally going down a rabbit hole with the veganism and the vegetarianism, but the bigger answer to the question is absolutely. I think Europe has probably always been ahead of the US in terms of specialty diet availability for those foods. That's my impression, my opinion only. But we certainly have seen that since we've been here.
Yes.
Dairy, non-dairy, tofu, meat substitutes, things like that. And then of course, just being here around all of this amazing fresh food. Maybe it just makes it easy. I don't know.
Just doing a vegetable medley, just on a tray.
Oh my God! I made him potatoes and baby tomato bake the other day with feta, and it was I gave him, I don't know, $100 million. He was so excited, and I was like, oh, that's all it takes, huh?
Yeah, it was delicious, absolutely delicious.
Anyway, okay, so we've beat that.
So yes,
dead horse.
There are alternatives. Some places you don't need to look too far either.
Yeah.
So.
And we are sitting here in Porto. So again,
so keep that in mind if you're going to more of a village.
Yeah. But I will say, even when we're going into Vera, there's a little there. right? There's a continent, which is where we shop here. I can't imagine there's going to be much difference in terms of that. So.
No. Well, I think the biggest difference is going to be access to seafood because we're right on the harbour front.
Oh yeah, I'm going to eat the hell out of some shrimp and sea bass.
So following on neatly from that is...
Next question.
Best everyday places to eat in Porto.
Oh, the exact opposite.
The exact opposite of what we've just said. But...
well, what do you think? What's the first place that comes to mind for you in Porto?
In Porto, well, I mean, there's not one. There's like a tirade of places. But I think from a very Portuguese standpoint, I think it would be Gazella.
100%. That's the first thing I would say too. And we've talked about it before on our socials, but also probably here because we've referenced it because it's really like right across the street from our apartment.
Not being funny, but you can go in there, you can have enough food to walk out very happy and a couple of beers and it's still under 20 euros.
Oh, easily. Oh my God. Listen. So here, let me back up. Gazella is, if you're coming to Porto, it is one of those places you must go to. Basically made famous by Anthony Bourdain visiting years and years ago. Yep. Rest in peace. And he kind of put it on the map because they specialize in the gatorina, which is Portuguese hot dogs, which the word actually means puppies. So baby hot dogs or baby dogs or that kind of thing, that kind of translation. So gatorinos. It's like a tiny piece of, not tiny, but like a hot dog shaped piece of baguette. And it's filled with sausage and cheese. Yep. And they crisp it up almost like a panini and put this spicy sauce on top of it. If you've ever had a franceschina, which is another very popular food here, the franceschina sauce is like a spicy beer sauce. And so they put the same sauce on the gatorina. Yep. It's kind of like hot dogs and french fries. That's basically what you're ordering, but it's Portuguese style. Yeah. When I tell you that the gatorinas are 4 euros, I'm not joking. And the beers are like 2 euros. So when he says we can go in there and both get a gatorina, a couple of beers, and share some fries for like 15 euros. Yeah. Definitely wonderful everyday place, and it is like
but it's
on
not,
the
it's
map.
an everyday place, but don't do it every day.
Oh yeah, you'll die. So what's another one?
I
got one.
Okay.
The market.
Yes.
So, also in our neighborhood, we'll see. I'll talk. So, also in our neighborhood, an everyday place that you should definitely go to, which has a different flair than just a normal restaurant, is Mercado de Bolhão Market. Jeez, Bolhão Market. BOLHAW.
HAO.
Oh my God.
Drink coffee.
I'm gonna drink more coffee. It's mosquito day. Okay. Bolhão Market. Jeez. It is one of my favorite places in the city, but it is not like a sit-down type of market. They don't have a whole lot of seating there.
No, there is some, but it's more of a market. You walk around and
Where is the seating?
At the entrance where you walk in. There's those two
areas,
and then they've got table and chairs around the edges as well.
I don't think we go to the same market.
I think you need
there are a lot of people who sit on the stairs. It's like 2 levels. So a lot of people will grab something from the market and sit on the stairs and enjoy their lunch or dinner. But when I think about markets, like it is probably one of the best markets I've ever been to in any of the places that we've been. Yeah. It's hundreds of vendors, anything and everything. Like you can have like the fresh farmer vendors where it's like fresh fruits and veggies. You have bakery items, you have butchers, you have the fishmongers, you have everything. And then kind of in the middle, you have some vendors that are like making food like for you to take. Yeah. And so like for instance, there's like a pasta in the cheese wheel place there.
Delicious.
Oh, that's so good.
Really good.
There's all kinds of like, he loves the pastries and the, like you have some of the English pies. Yeah. In one of the bakery places. You can actually eat seafood right there from the fishmongers too. Yep. Fresh sushi, you've got some, like just all kinds of stuff, shrimp, everything. And then, what else would be there? Oh, cheese. All kinds of stuff.
There's a lot of artisan stuff there.
It is the place to me that is like, it is definitely an everyday place and it's very casual, but it's like an experience. Like my recommendation is you go there, you get a glass of wine from one of the vendors and you just stroll and taste and just talk and
speak with them. They're so,
it's awesome there.
They're so willing to share any of the history. So I think there's one of them there that's one of the original cod.
Salted cod, yeah.
One of the cod places.
Yeah.
But they're so wrapped into the history that you know, you have conversations with people, and they're more than happy to, in broken English, broken Portuguese, still try and get through.
Yeah, and help you.
Just because they take a lot of pride in what they do.
Yeah.
So I love that. And some of the fish counters, just behind the counter, there's a little high top table and chair where you can go in and sit. So you're still in that environment of all the seafood and the fish, and it's a real delight.
Yes, it is a must if you're coming here.
Definitely,
like
a must if you come.
Budget a couple hours for that.
And a couple of glasses of wine.
The only other place, so I'd written down a couple things in terms of the other places. If you don't know what risotto is, it's kind of like a Portuguese empanada. It's
but it's a lot smaller and more crispy.
It's like a thinner pastry. It's usually stuffed with all different kinds of Portuguese flavors and anything you can think of, really. Some of them are vegetarian, some of them are seafood based, some of them have it's very much like an empanada, but here they call it risotto, and we have a place called Oficina de Risotto, literally in our neighborhood in Batala. So that is an everyday place that is super affordable. Same thing. It's like they're 3 or 4 euros a piece, maybe. Yeah. Actually, the misto, which is
like
one of the best.
185.
Ham and cheese, so good.
Down
Have
dirty,
it with a couple
beautiful.
of beers. It's perfect.
Yep.
Again, don't do it every day, or you're gonna have to go to the doctor. And then that other place for breakfast in Foch.
Oh, outside of Porto. Well, yeah, I mean, still within the municipality, but yeah, Amelia.
Amelia in Foch for breakfast. It's amazing. It was really, really good, and you should go there. So there's 4 places right there, casual, everyday food. You should go eat.
And there are so many. I mean, you could spend a whole hour.
I could keep talking about this for an entire episode, but we won't.
What was the...
Gwendolyn's. We can't leave that off the list.
Gwendolyn's, but I was thinking also the Mexican place that we found.
Callejero.
Amazing. Burritos,
You're like,
tacos.
You're in Portugal and you find Mexican, you should make sure that you go. It's like the spiciest food we could find in the city, and it's still not as spicy as I want it to be.
But if you've got specific, like, do you know of anywhere like that serves
Asian?
X? Let us know, and
Thai,
we'll gladly go and try it in advance for you before we leave. Or point you in the right direction after we've left.
All right, so that's good. We got 4 or 5 suggestions there for you.
Yep. Okay. Language. Touched on it a second ago. Language barriers. Are we having problems being understood or speaking and understanding what other people are saying to us?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's never going to go away. I'm not going to be the person that says, yeah, it's all right.
Until I am fluent in Portuguese. Fast forward 5 years, 10 years, I'm never going to be able to say we never have a language barrier. But what I can say is that it's very rare that it causes a problem.
Yeah. I've not yet experienced a situation where the language has resulted in walking away from something because you just can't get past whatever the barrier is. You know, at the very, very worst, it's a case of pulling your phone out, Google Translate or whatever translation app, typing it in, handing them your phone, and they'll reply. They'll switch the languages back and they'll answer it. And you know, we've had quite a few, particularly in the bureaucracy side of things, where first off you go in, it's like, hi, do you speak any English? Because we don't really speak Portuguese, and they're like, no. And it's like, okay, So pull out
yeah.
the phone and say, can we do it this way? And it's like, yes, let's do it. And I think they're just very amenable and very ready to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't felt situations were dire. I'll say that. But I will say, you know, I think what people have a problem with languages and learning new language, not just the process of learning it, it's getting over feeling like you're going to embarrass yourself. And honestly, that shit just has to go out the window. If you're going to go to another country where you don't know the language and you're learning it, albeit slow or fast or working really hard at it or just learning it along the way, you have to let go of being worried about looking stupid. I would rather put forth the effort and try to speak and say something and make a joke about how poor I'm doing.
I'm trying.
Right.
Type thing.
And letting them know that that's what I'm trying to do in their country and respecting their language,
right,
than not ever trying, never learning anything just to save myself from feeling, you know, embarrassed when I shouldn't anyway. Right. You have to get over it.
Absolutely.
That's my biggest. I mean, I think that's the first thing I had to really get over when we got here, because you can say, okay, learn a little bit, and especially when we traveled here for the first time, you know, you learn like what you need to know, what you think you're going to need to know in your, 10 days here or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's hard at the beginning to speak other things, but now I say, so ate breve is my new favorite one, because I usually say see you later when I walk out of a store or whatever in the United States, and I wanted the equivalent of that, and this one was like, he looked it up and he had been using it, and I was like, I'm going to start using that because it's a casual way of saying see you next time.
Yeah.
Right? We live here type of thing, like we're in the neighborhood, this is who we are.
And I think there's a lot of, from what you're just saying, like see you later, it's very sort of informal, and I think a lot of the times when we come into contact with people, it's in informal settings. There's a different way to say it in a formal setting, for sure.
Right.
It's like anything.
But it's probably the clear indicator that you're learning.
But that's the thing, it's a case of how am I going to not fit in, because you look different, you sound different, you're never going to, like, quotes, fit in that sense of, like, you're a Portuguese person. But how do I fit in the whole conversational aspect of if I go to the pub, if I go to a restaurant, if I'm in a shop, and I think trying to scale it back into being informal and being on a dialect that is shared within a community, I think that's fantastic. But I will say that there are, depending on where you are in Portugal, there are different ways of saying the same thing. So we've got to relearn some of that as well.
Well, yes. So we were at dinner the other night, and our friend who was the waitress was trying to teach me something. Mais um means I want one more, because I'm always ordering one more. She was also saying that just as in the U.S., someone who's from Boston versus someone who's from South Carolina are going to say the same thing, but sound so different sometimes that it is very hard. Right, and so she says the same thing happens here, where in the North, the dialect and the accent of the Portuguese language is so different from even someone in the South. So it's just interesting. I mean, we probably would not hear that yet, but others do.
I'm lucky if I catch anything.
I know. I will say I think that overall, and I've said it before, people are so welcoming to you the moment you try.
Right.
So just try.
Yep.
Like that's all you have to do to open the door, to let them know that you are trying to be respectful and learning their culture and their language, and they are just so welcoming after that. And it might just end up being a ridiculous mess because you can't understand and they're trying to, but it's okay because you have this technology in front of you that's not like Mark said, it's not like you're leaving a situation and going, oh, well, that was a failure. You just figure it out. You just keep going.
Absolutely.
So, I don't think anybody should be worried and let a language barrier coming to Portugal stop you from coming to Portugal.
I think the only thing that stops, I sort of speak for myself, that stops me from opening a conversation in Portuguese is exactly that. It's the, am I going to get this right? Am I going to nose it up? Am I going to be
And
understood?
the answer is yeah.
Yes, without a doubt I am. But do you know what? I'd rather do that than not try.
Did you say nose it up?
Nose it up.
What is... Here we go again. What's nose it up?
Just to nose it up, just to...
Can you spell that?
I don't think there's an actual spelling for it. It's a very sort of...
See,
English
I think he
thing.
makes up his own language.
No, it's...
From the 100 of Who school, which is exactly the name of the school he attended, y'all.
Yes, it was 100 of Who in Who St. Werburgh.
Okay, what
but
is
to
the
nose it
last-
up is just to like cock it up, to get it wrong.
Cock it up.
But, you know,
Got it.
in a nice way.
Next.
But so, yes, we're learning. No, we're not perfect. It's never been a problem, and we'll continue to try.
One more thing. We really haven't been as good as we should have been yet.
Absolutely.
About dedicating time, like daily or at least weekly, to our online course. And we've just got to figure that out. It's like...
It's got to be part of our day.
It needs to be part of our day, but it also probably can't compete with when you walk outside and you interact with people.
Right.
So that's part of it. It's like, I know that our course will be very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, if anybody is interested, it's an online course. I think it cost, maybe 300 euros. It's called Portuguese with Anita, and she's great. She's really great. I'll link it. But it's funny. I feel like we've learned more just by being willing to be risk takers outside.
Yeah.
You know, in life.
And so many times the conversations are finished at a restaurant or wherever. It's like, okay, so I'll be back tomorrow with a pen and paper, and we'll sit down for half an hour, and you can teach me some Portuguese. Sure, come back. Blah, blah,
We do.
blah.
We're not scared to ask people that we interact with to give us a lesson for a minute.
What am I getting wrong?
Yeah.
So,
And they like it. They tend to like it. So
I think they do.
I like it.
I think it helps them as well learn English.
True, but they probably know it well more than...
For sure.
They don't
Many
need to
of
be
them.
learning any more
Many of
English.
them.
They know it.
Enough to definitely get past.
Yeah.
So last final. Okay.
Okay.
How much should a couple have to be able to retire and have a similar lifestyle as ours?
Ooh.
And I think that this is I'm not going to say it's a very loaded question, but I think it's a very individual question with a very individual answers, because we choose a particular option or particular way of living in terms of where we live. Our rent could be a lot cheaper if we were out of the town or in a different area.
Yeah.
But
we choose not to have a car.
we don't have kids. We have one dog. You know, I
Maybe-
think there's a lot of things.
Maybe the way, so this is a question that, we get, and it's hard to answer, but maybe if we can outline our
Let's break
expenses.
it down into some
Well,
things.
let's just, maybe if we give our expenses, it'll help people kind of think
Back
for
into
themselves and back into it. The actual move over here was not as expensive as one might think, other than flights, right? Like the process, it depends on, for your visas. If you do it yourself, you're paying for the application. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some little things along the way that you have to pay for, like your FBI fingerprinting and things like that are nominal amounts of money. I think the biggest thing, and we've talked about it before, is getting your lease in place and having to have the lease in place before you even apply. So you're essentially kind of upfronting money for an apartment that you're not using. That is probably the biggest
But if you
expense.
have an opportunity to use the Schengen rules,
Yeah,
in
you
your
can come
favour,
and stay in it for
You can
90
stay in
days
it.
while your visa is being processed.
just don't overstay.
I'll say, so that's one section. We can actually come back and maybe talk about like the cost of the move over here at some point, but like, let's talk about our expenses and maybe that will help people.
Okay, so utilities.
Yes.
Okay, so
Less than $100 a month for electricity. And we haven't even, I think during the summer, we just got close to 100 because we have
Because aircon.
electric air. That was only because we've been literally running it a lot.
yeah,
Like we used to ration it because we didn't know what
Didn't know
to
how much it's going to
expect.
cost. So
And then when we realized that if we just left it
what?
on, most of the time it was like a 20 euro difference a month, we were like, okay,
we'll foot that.
yes.
So 100 for electric, water.
15.
Okay,
maybe
on average.
a month.
You know, that's daily.
And this is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath here.
Yeah.
Our rent, and again, don't come for us in the comments, it's €15.95. We very much know that that's probably still too high.
Yep.
But we loved the location, and this was a brand new, like refurbished, nobody's lived here type of thing. And it was all
cookie
modern.
factory.
Amenities, it just worked for us for the experience that we wanted.
Yep.
You can very much get a 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment here for much, probably half of that.
Yeah,
You won't
be in the centre of the city. You'll be on one of the outskirts.
But you could.
But you can do it, and the metro system will allow you to be in town when you want to.
Speaking of metro, how much do you think? I mean, like transportation stuff. So we chose not to have a car.
Right.
So we don't have the expense of a vehicle
Or a garage cost.
or parking or gas or anything like that. But you know what you trade for that is taking trains and Ubers and the metro and things like that when you need to. But I mean, the metro here is what, $1?
It depends on which zone you go to.
Yeah,
if you
but
stay within the main zone,
right around $1 or $1.50, or sorry, I keep saying $1. A euro.
I wasn't going to correct you, but I've waited.
€1.50. Look, 45 years of dollars. Okay. So Ubers, we Ubered home from Gaia. Where did we Uber home from the other day? It was from Foch. It was like €5.
Yeah.
So that was 4 or 5 miles all the way across town.
Through town.
Basically, €5. What are some other big expenses?
But again, I think if you're looking at transportation in like as a monthly average between Uber and the metro and Uber and metro for us, I think per person we're easily coming in, I don't know, 50 to 75 euros a month.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
And sometimes far less because either we don't go out so much or because it's so nice that with the weather that we're walking a lot more.
Yeah.
And that's, has a lot more other advantages. So I think transport wise you can do it.
Oh, you can do it for much cheaper than that.
Cheaper
There's
than
a monthly card that you can get that's what? 40?
Going to catch me on that. I can't remember.
It's a monthly card that you can, if you're using the metro all the time and the trains all the time, you can get monthly passes. And we just don't do it because we don't know enough to know how often. If you were here and having the metro to work every day, then you know better than we do. Ours is more random. I would also say the next expense is your groceries. And gosh, you guys have probably seen how affordable if you've been following us on socials at all, I'll do like little grocery hauls and show how much things cost. And we are shocked every time. Like our biggest hauls have not exceeded 85, 90 euros. And that's when we go and try to really we're really down to nothing and we need to restock for a while. Yep. But we don't do that very often because we don't
have a big fridge.
We don't. And so it's rare. Yeah. Our freezer is literally the size of a shoebox.
Yeah.
So groceries, if I had to say maybe 100 a week. So 400 euros, that's about 450, and we could be much better about that. Like we could pare that down even more if we really wanted to. And then of course you're eating out. That is all going to be relative to your choices and your lifestyle. You can go to Gazella for 15 euros for both of you, or you can go out to a normal. Like we went out last night, and what was it, 30 euros? Something like that. And it can range up from there. That's all going to be relative, but I think. Is there anything else like big expense?
Wi-Fi.
Oh, health insurance. We do it's $270 something for health insurance for us, for both. Our cell phones are pay as you go because we weren't sure if we wanted a contract or not.
Right.
So we've stayed pay as you go, and it's
24.70.
Yeah, 25 a piece. Euros a piece, so 50 something euros, 55 euros, something like that. I don't even remember. Roughly 55 euros for both of us for 10 gigs each a month.
And then if you add the Wi-Fi in, that's 40 odd.
Yep.
So it's about 100.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi is 48, and I think that's high. I just haven't changed it because we've had.
issues.
Anyway.
Anyway.
I don't even want to go there. But I think that those things can be packaged too.
Yeah, but I think communications-wise, phones and Wi-Fi,
yeah.
I think that comes in at 100 for us.
Oh, phones and Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's probably right.
Other things,
Can't even think of
I can't
anything else. The rest of it's travel for us.
Yeah.
So again, lifestyle choices, but I hope that that helps kind of frame out the expenses on our side that we've chosen. And I will also give a caveat. We could be in an apartment that's even cheaper. And I think that as you find and you follow us, you will likely see that happen for us because we're going to Tavira and we got a cheaper apartment. And we may, in the next place, opt for even cheaper because you start to realize what you really need and what you really don't need.
Right.
And where you want to be and versus like, is that really worth it? Yeah. And so,
I mean, the thing is, this place could be a 1-bedroom, but and the second bedroom that is here could be, if that was a storage room or something, then that would be perfect from our perspective.
Yeah.
So again, it really comes down to what you're going to pay is largely going to depend on where you want to be.
Yep. I think your two biggest
location dictates the pricing.
Your two biggest choices are where you are, in terms of what the rent will be, and your choice of whether or not you have a vehicle or not. Those are the two biggest expenses that you could have while you're here. Yeah. The rest of it is especially in comparison to the United States, it's much more affordable.
Yeah.
So anyway.
That's it.
Hopefully that helps. It's hard to say,
here's a number.
Put a number to it, but hopefully that helps a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
All right.
Perfect.
Thank you for the FAQs.
Love them.
We love doing these episodes. I mean, I hope it's entertaining because
yeah.
we're just talking. But we like doing these.
I think the next FAQ we should do should be later in the afternoon, maybe in the evening, with some wine because I think it will get a lot funnier.
Oh, we're not funny?
Well, I am.
And funnier is not a word. I'm an English major.
You should know better then.
It's a lot more funny.
Oh. Right. Okay.
Like with Britton Bird. Okay. Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
We will see you next time.
Absolutely.
And cheers, y'all.
Take care. Bye.
Listen up, future expats. For more content about our move, the visa process, Portuguese culture and destinations, and tons of support resources for your own decisions and potential move abroad, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Portugal Junkies.
Stay in touch and help us reach more people by subscribing here and following us there.
Cheers, y'all!